Hello, people, and the broadcast. Oh, hello, people. How you doing today? I am here with my partner, Danny Trio. We're actually looking forward to doing our show today. We're going to talk about a few things, and then we're going to talk about betrayal of one best friend, a best friend of 30 years who killed another best friend over money. So we're actually looking forward to doing that show. We're going to talk about some of the stuff going on. We're going to touch on it. We're not going to be too gossipy today, right, Danny?
Not at all.
Okay. Well, people, let me say hi to. Listen, I wrenched two people, Bill McDonald, and I never thought I'd say this. I wrenched MRE Fertilizer, one of my mortal enemies. What am I doing, Danny? Gosh. Ian Shepard started off with a negative tweet. He's probably not in here. You'll be late for your own fucking funeral, Lee. And I wrote back, I bet I want to be late for my funeral, Sparky. Buster Detroit, how you doing? Yeah, we're going to touch a little bit on Gunner's wife and what she did in her article that she wrote, or the show that she did. Okay, do a Buster Detroit, and then we got Miss Can't Be Wrong here, like always, faithfully. Thank you, Miss Can't Be Wrong. Employed white male. Okay. Scott McDonald, of course. And we know that you're from across the pond, I believe, Scott. Michael Hensley, how you doing, my man? Let's see him. Josh Lyles, hello to you too, Josh. Appreciate it. Bill K, I say K because I can't pronounce that last name. Is Gene coming to Mob too? I'll touch on that a little bit. MRE Fertilizer Management. I cannot believe that I gave you a wrench, dude. Something's wrong with me. I'm softening up in my old age, Danny. Okay. Jason B, how you doing? Dylan Chase, your show is great. I can't get enough from Bay Ridge, now in Orlando. Danny, you are so old school Brooklyn.
Thanks a lot.
Well, and Dylan, you know what? I know a lot of guys like to go down to Florida. And are you part of the, how do you say, what do they call those people that live in Florida? My Blue Heaven or something like that. I doubt it, but you know. Okay, then Richard Balazri, you put down rats and spend time kissing up to the one that's being a hypocrite. Richard Balsari, here's what it comes down to, brother. I respect your opinion, but we do what we want on this show. You know why? Because it's our show. And you don't have to watch it if you don't like it. But I do respect your opinion. If Gene Barillo gets a hold of you, listen, people, let me give you an example. Danny, what is Gene Barillo?
A rat.
Okay. Now, Danny, did I call you yesterday and talk to you about what I wanted to do?
Yeah, let me make something clear. Lee contacted me yesterday in regards to Gene Barillo. I told Gene it's a story. If I were you, take it. And people want to hear that. It's people gravitate to that kind of stuff. I have nothing to do with Gene. I don't have anything to do with rats. If anybody has anything to say, you're more than happy to come on the program. But Gene is Gene, and Lee is Lee. Lee and I have difference of opinions, but in no way, shape, or form did I tell him not to do it.
And I don't hang out with these guys, people. But, we try to give you guys the entertainment that you want. We don't want to be one of these boring-ass shows that just attack rats, and that's what we're all about. They deserve to have their say-so. That doesn't mean we have to believe them or trust them, which I don't. But I will put them out here if I think it's worthwhile. Gene Barillo was going to court yesterday. He was expecting to go to prison. The judge shocked everybody and let him go. No one expected that. And you guys, the first place you learned that was right here. And that's our job, to let you guys know this stuff. But you will not see me hanging around Gene Barillo. Okay. And because we have, and another thing, we're not going to get into any content creator names, but if any content creator ever attacks this show again, we will fight back. Right, Danny?
Yeah, I don't understand, the logic behind why somebody is concerned, or multiple people are concerned about this particular interview. I don't care who you are. I mean, it was done. He did it. And if you don't like it, you can call him up and voice your grievances. But why would you have any grievances? Is it because you didn't get the opportunity to do it? So it's kind of childish. But if you want to keep pushing the agenda or the envelope, there's many avenues we can go. You know what I mean? I'm not threatening nobody. But, you know, when you start saying things about people or, you know, trying to intimidate or tell somebody what they can and can't do, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of people that know a lot of people. So I'm not into slandering anybody or you know, pointing fingers. But for every action, there's a reaction. So just remember that. You know, if you want to, you know, add dirty laundry, we can add dirty laundry. But, you know, why don't we just be grown men? We can agree to disagree and keep it moving. That's it.
Everybody should do their own show and stop worrying about what other people are doing. I don't care what anybody else is doing out there.
I mean, we only have 4,000 subs. We're no, you know, 100,000 sub program. You know, we're doing our thing and it's growing. And if somebody has a problem with that, they're more than happy to come on, you know, this live and express it. But if not, don't come behind people and start attacking them and saying this, that, and the other thing. You're more than welcome to come on the program, and, you know, you can get said about you too. So, you know.
Okay. Now, Amber Alert. Amber Alert, you came in here before. You came into the show, a Tony Soulflow show, and you were putting up negative stuff. We're going to let you stay here, Amber. But here's the fact of the matter. You could say whatever you want, as long as you're respectful about it. But look at your name, dude. Look at your name. Okay. Danny's the voice of reason. Well, on this show, he is the voice of reason, without a doubt. Okay. And listen, the truth. Is there any truth to the fact that the truth that you might be associated with a John Wolfe? I don't know. But there are rumors going around. Okay. You know, Danny, people don't realize how much shit we get, how much information we get every day.
Well, listen, and it's not even asking for it. It's surprisingly, you know, how people dislike a person or persons and go out of their way to give up information about them. Not that I'm using it. I could care less, but it's always good to have in the back burner because a lot of people feel that they're untouchable, per se.
Neutral Drop, listen, your friend did a very good job on what we're going to cover today with the murder of between two guys, Gambino and Lucchese Associate. I seen the show that they did. It was really good. And I don't know if Neutral Drop wants you to know who he knows that does it, but we'll just leave it at that. That's his business. If he wants you to know, he'll let you know. Tony B, how you doing? Good to have you here, my man. Tom? C Money, come on, don't stop saying that. C Money, this is the best show on MobTube. Everybody has their different style of show they like. We try to give you good quality stuff here. And Miss Can't Be Wrong, Ryan's in the house. Ryan Lacey is becoming a very good fan of this show, and we appreciate it, Ryan.
What's up, Ryan? Liberty Avenue.
And Edwin Jimenez is. And now we're going to talk about something else. We're not going to spend too much time on it. But yesterday, a nice woman did a show for her husband, and she basically made some statements about us and a couple other people, and we're talking about Gunnar Lindblom's wife. Danny, what's your opinion on that in general when you've seen that?
You know, I think she spoke very eloquently. I think she's, you know, a very intelligent woman. And I think Gunnar is lucky to have her. She made some points in her conversation or her video, which are arguable. And again, I don't want to sit here and spend time on Gunnar. Gunnar is what he is, and that's his wife. And his wife came to his rescue, and to her, you know, defense, she did a very good job. However, the facts are still the facts. no matter how you twist it, slap it, roll it. The facts are the facts. I just want to shout out to Monster Chronicles that does very good stuff. And, you know, I think Monster Chronicles deserves you know, a lot of credit, as we do as well, for doing this. And just for the record, you know, I do know this guy in Detroit. He's become a friend of mine. So as far as anybody saying that, oh, I doubt he ever talked to him or whatever, I did. And I'm not blowing smoke up nobody's ass. Whether you believe me or not, that's perfectly fine. It's really not even relevant. But just for the record, there's another gentleman that I spoke to that had some social clubs. I'm not going to mention his last name, but there's stories there too. And I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse. I hope Gunner prospers and does more of the outdoorsy type stuff, because I'm a fan. So with that being said, Gunner, God bless you. I wish you the best. And as far as the mob groupie conversation or you know, term that you endearly gave me, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about any kind of mob groupie situation.
And I'm going to mention two things on it. First of all, we never attacked Gunner about being a Toko. We attacked Gunner about being associated with Jack Toko. Let's get that straight. He has not proven that he's associated with Jack Toko. He has said it several times, and he's taking it back. So your wife brought that up. She did a very good job with the genealogy and all that. But that's not what we were discussing. We never said you weren't associated with the Tokos. We said that you weren't associated with Jack Toko. Let's get that straight. And also, besides that, Scott Bernstein, nice guy and stuff, but everybody in this has their agenda. If you don't think that we question the fact that Scott Bernstein took a couple of years to come out and say something against Gunner, you're wrong. You know, he took a while. You know, we're not dumb here, people. We see everything that's going on, and we try to give you the best show that we can. But if you think that we're letting people come in here and hustling us and stuff, we're not doing that. Okay. And let's see. Let's take some of these, and then before we get to our story, your show is great. I can't get enough. Oh, from Bay Ridge. I'm sorry. I read that already, my man. Let me get down here. I don't want to fall too far behind today. Great show, guys. Love your show. Danny laid your feelings better. Straight shooter from Northern New Jersey.
What's up, Vin?
Brian Press, how you doing, my man? You must be giving my wrench to that other guy. Oh, Brian, I'm sorry. I'll definitely take care of you, brother. Okay, what's up? Respect to Danny, born and raised in Brooklyn. Know exactly where Danny is from. My last job was on Stillwell, Mermaid, Miss Brooklyn. God bless, fellas. Danny is a stand-up guy.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay. Gunsmoke. Are you doing a show tonight, Gunsmoke? Get the hell out of your bed. Get off the blanket. Take the slippers off your feet. Put some sneakers on. Change your clothes. Put on glasses. Wash your face. And get that show together tonight, brother. $10 from Terrytown. Thank you, Terrytown.
Terry, thank you, Terry.
Okay. Let's see. Any more? Everyone like and subscribe and donate to the show. And if you want to donate to the show, I'm going to put down here right underneath. That's the Cash App. I'm not going to leave that running too long. It's kind of khaki. It doesn't look too good to leave it running the whole show. But I'll just leave that down there. You guys make your decision. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Gerard, Gerard's a great guy. Nice guy. Z-Truth, thank you so much. I accept this award. Miss Can't Be Wrong. John Wolf just gave you the award for being, you are the best at this. There's no doubt about it. Did Danny go to church on Mermaid and West 17th Street? It's nice, a little church. I went there for Ash Wednesday a few years ago because I was around. Danny?
It's funny you say that. I got kicked out of the school there.
Oh, you went to that church and got kicked out? What did you do?
When I was a kid.
Did you beat up the minister or something?
No, I don't really remember, but what I was told, there was an altercation with another boy, and I hit him with a a little fire truck, the metal fire trucks years ago with the ladders. So
That will usually do it.
They said I had an anger management problem.
Brooklyn was the greatest place to grow up. So many memories left when I was 34. When my mom passed, a couple of cousins still there. It's different planet now. It's a totally different planet, my man.
Yeah,
and,
the church he was talking about is Al Salas.
And let's talk. See, we're lucky because we got to see Brooklyn at its greatest and best. Unfortunately, New York, you're never going to see at its greatest and best again. Lee, not to upset Woodless population, but you have been living under a rock. People have been accusing D-Truth of being John Wolfe for many months. Is it true? It's up to you. Well, D-Truth, we'll let you in here. If you change to John Wolfe, we probably won't. You two will have 10K subs by Thanksgiving, no doubt. Nah, that's too close, my man. It's not as easy as it looks, people. You know, our show's growing and stuff. But you know what? Here's what can happen, Dylan. We can get caught in the algorithm. And when you get caught in the algorithm, stuff happens. You never know. You know, I got it one time. I got in the Sammy Gravano algorithm, very powerful algorithm. And if people that don't know what the algorithm is, that's when YouTube takes your show and puts it on like sites. They put me for 1 week on Sammy Gravano's site near his videos and everything. And I gained 500 subs in 1 week. So the algorithm's a very true thing, especially in this. Tommy Stiggs, how you doing, my man?
What's up, Tom?
I don't think you're in the mob drama anymore. Your content is mob genre. That's right. And that's what we're going to keep it going. But, you know, we got a lot of people in here that like the show, and we just like to give them kudos and read your remarks. And hope everyone had a great day. Boston Jay, how you doing, my man? Gerard, my Calandra family brother. Another guy, Boston Jay. I never thought Boston Jay being here talking to me, all civilized. Carmine S. Gunsmoke is becoming camera shy. Salute, Lee and Danny. $4.99. Thank you.
What's up, Carmine? Thank you, pal.
No, Gunsmoke just needs to get out of bed. Right, Gunsmoke? He's not answering me. I like that picture, Gunsmoke. I beg to differently. I'm one of the best mods, bro. No disrespect. I know you're an awesome mod. You're very trustworthy too. You've been taking care of Jimmy for a long time, brother. Toko, he is my great uncle. I would like to see Gunner is really related to because I never heard of a Gunner in my family. Okay, Nicholas S. I wonder where you're from. You know, it's amazing. You know how many people we get from Detroit in here now? The Detroit mob or associates or guys that have been shelved seem to be coming fans of this show, Danny.
Yeah, I got a couple of emails the other day from some guys in Detroit area, and I'm not gonna elaborate, but it's the same story. You know, they almost wish they could say they know Gunner. And again, you know, it is what it is, man.
BK Shalom, don't count men's wallets, whatever that means. Lee, you did right by bringing Danny on. I like listening to him. You both work great together.
Thanks, Boston. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, but what he's saying to me, though, Danny, is if you weren't here, you wouldn't be watching. Okay. Okay. Tony, that so-called Rogue Wrench blocked me is FBS chat room. Okay. No Rogue Wrenches here. If we have any trouble with the wrenches, just let me know, people. I trust you guys that have the wrench in here. How Bill Lambert or Dennis Rodman, that would be, well, two great players, two great defensive players. Okay, people, we're going to get into a story. And Danny, you want to cover the story in general, then I'll bring some pictures up and stuff. And,
we're just touching base on the guy that just got convicted of killing Vincent Zito, who is a Lucchese crime family associate. And Anthony Pandrella is reported to be a Gambino Associate. And apparently they've been friends for approximately 30 years. And he has been convicted of killing his best friend.
And this is the guy that was killed right here.
Yeah, she said
let me get this off this picture. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, this is the guy that was killed right here. And this is from Mooney Dashcam, by the way. And that's the house it happened in. And how did he kill him, Danny?
Well, apparently there's a few different stories. One, he was shot twice in the back of the head. One, he was shot in the back of the head. Really doesn't matter. He was killed and he was shot. So, and it was all over money. And Anthony's on the left, Vincent's on the right, or vice versa, the way you're looking at the screen. And apparently they were friends for a long time. So,
and the fat guy murdered the skinny guy. That's basically how we'll cover it.
Yeah, Fat Anthony told his friend Vinny that apparently he was hot, that the feds knew he was involved in loan sharking, and it might be a possible raid or what have you. So Vinny gave him the $750,000. So it's reported. I don't know how true it is. I don't know if there was other people involved, but I just want to add a note. I have a friend of mine. His name is Anthony. I won't give you his last name, who's been friends with Anthony Pandrella for many, many years. And I was talking to him the other day, and he still don't believe that Pandrella did it. But that's for another story. Anthony's a good guy, and I value his opinion. But that being said, he got convicted because there was fingerprints and DNA on the weapon, which happened to be a .38.
And that's the weapon right there. That's evidence right there. Anthony Pandrella's DNA was found on the grip and trigger of this revolver recovered in the house. And here's the bad thing. After he killed his friend of 30 years, the guy's grandson, 11-year-old grandson, came home and found his grandfather laying dead after he was executed. And then after he was executed, before the police really started trying to catch on to who killed him, the guy that killed him was going around with the family trying to look for the killer, even though he was the killer. And then on top of that, he even went to the funeral. He went to the funeral with the family of the friend he killed. I mean, it's just a really sad story. It's treachery. It's at its highest level. Now, Danny, when someone comes to you and says, we don't think that, he says, I know the guy, I don't see him killing this guy. Do they understand that these guys are gangsters?
Oh yeah, they do. Anthony, his uncle was involved in a family in Brooklyn, so he's quite well aware of the meaning and the definition behind this. But he feels a different way. He knows the guy for just as long as Vinny knew him. But that's immaterial. The guy got convicted, and rightfully so. You do that to a friend of 30 years and 70-something years old, 76, 77, 78 years old, whatever he was. You shoot the guy in the back of the head. You leave him dead in the kitchen or the living room, wherever he was. And then his poor grandson comes home from school, and there's his grandfather laying in a pool of blood, dead. And then, like you reported,
And so people, let's just explain this. So I'm going to just explain it. So what happened, and I know you said this, Danny, but I'm going to say it again. So this guy that got killed had $750,000 on him, and heat was coming down on him. So he gave it to his friend, the heavyset guy, and said, can you please hide this? And then when he went and told the guy, I want my money back, the guy said to him, someone robbed my basement, took the money. And then the guy wound up giving him back $300,000 of the $750,000. So at that point, he figured he didn't have the rest of the money. It's obvious something happened. There's rumors what happened. There's even rumors that the head of the Gambinos ordered the hit. No one knows. There's no proof of that, but there are people that say that. And so it's weird because where did the money go? It just disappeared. You were talking $750,000. And maybe he's right. Maybe someone did rob his basement, but maybe when you have that kind of money, and if you go out and tell other gangsters you have someone's money like that, anything can happen, right, Danny?
Yeah, money makes people do crazy things. And in this case, what I heard through the grapevine to people, Pandrella was a bum. He was and I don't mean to be derogatory. I shouldn't say bum, but he really didn't have much. So I don't know. $750,000 is a lot of fucking money.
And he used to hang out by Leone's sandwich shop on 15th Avenue, and they used to call him Anthony Cigars.
Or Fat Anthony, Fat Tony.
And he was associated with the Gambinos, and the guy he killed was associated with the Lucchese's. So They were friends, though. And Lucchese was Vito Zito. The guy that was killed was a Lucchese Associate and a loan shark. Vito's son was so close to Pandrella that he even asked him to drive him to his father's funeral. He asked the murderer to drive him to his father's funeral. And Pandrella and him had discussed possible suspects for his dad murder. Imagine he's in the car talking about who killed your dad, and he's the one that killed the dad. This is, when we talk about ruthlessness and the mob, and this, remember, people that say the mob's dead, this happened recently. This isn't like old news, right, Danny? This is a couple years old.
2018, I believe.
Yeah, and the guy was just convicted. And I guess he didn't have nothing to rat about, did he?
I have no idea,
And who knows whether he will rat? Who the hell knows? And the hit was basically a loan shark in dispute. There was a big possibility that George Lambrosi, who was the head of the Gambinos, may have sanctioned it, but not 100% sure. So we're not going to say it was, but when you have money like that disappearing, you got to say, where's the money going? Why is it going there? But you have to question why this man gave that much money to his friend to hold. Isn't it other places you could hide money without asking, You ever been in that position, Danny, where someone asks you to hide something from them?
Not that much money, no. And, listen, like I said, money makes people do crazy things. I don't care how long you know somebody. But I guess this Zito guy felt compelled and trustworthy to this guy, and it got him killed, unfortunately.
How many times have we heard about that in the annals of the mafia, of someone trusting someone that screws them over?
Listen, that's the main operation of the mob. If they can get over on you, they're gonna. I don't care if you're maid. I don't care if you're an associate. It's a dog-eat-dog world. There's no honor. Maybe many years ago, I wasn't alive then, but there's very few people in that life that you can say you trust, if any. And that's my opinion.
Yep. And it's unfortunate, people, but that isn't just the way the life is. And we talk about this all the time. Matter of fact, Jimmy Calandra talks about it all the time, that your friend is the one that comes to kill you. Your friend is the one that comes to rob you. That's just how the mob is. Okay, let me read some more of these comments if you have any questions. Okay, Tony V. Surveillance. Surveillance. That's right. The guy even walked. There was a surveillance camera in the house of his friend. Even
the neighbor. I think the neighbor had surveillance.
Oh, it was a neighbor. I'm sorry. So the neighbor got him on camera. You see, people, everybody has those little Wise cameras that you could put out your window, and they're little square blocks, and they don't even look like cameras. I got 2 of them. They're everywhere. You can't do anything and not be on camera no more. I'm going to give away your security, but do you have any cameras at your house at all?
No.
Aren't you worried about that? Someone
Nope.
sneaking down your driveway?
Not at all.
No alarms on the ground or nothing. What? It's
Nope.
like you want somebody.
Well, people can interpret it anyway. I don't.
Tony B, you're absolutely right. Exactly what you're saying is exactly the way it was. Angelo Ruggiero borrowed money from DB and had him killed. It happens all the time in the mob, people. We talked about D'Orso, the guy that beat up Mazza. I did a show on it. The head of the family had no problem with him being shot in the back of the head in a social club because people owed him money. He was a loan shark. So the best thing to do, how many times, can you imagine how many times in history loan sharks have been killed because gangsters didn't want to pay him back?
Oh, sure.
Or gamblers that didn't want to pay back their bookies.
Happens all the time.
I mean, do you have any incidences that of bookies getting killed because maybe they were owed money?
I do, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna.
But you
talk
do
about
have
it, but it's
ideas.
it's a pretty prevalent situation that money is the root to all evil, and it's more prevalent in the mob than just layman's people that are just, in layman terms, guys in the street that you loan money to friendly. There's always a problem.
Hey, please hit the like button. Let's get us up over 100 likes before the show's over, people. We always get up to the likes, but sometimes it's not done until after the show. 200.
Again, if you like the program, please donate. Hit the like button, notification bell, any bell or button you see, push it. And again, if you got a few dollars, it is immensely appreciated. Throw it from all angles.
I'm telling you, if Danny and FBS did a show together, they'd be wealthy. They'd be buying big houses because they're not afraid to ask. Wait a minute. You own a couple houses. Is this how you got your houses, Danny?
No, actually, I work for them, and that's the God's honest truth.
Man, what a tangled web the mob weaves. You cannot even imagine. Can you imagine if people understand what goes on, and especially in the prime of the 80s and 90s, what went on behind the scenes in the Mafia? You know, and this is where the Sopranos and stuff, they cover it somewhat about things that happen in the mob. The Godfather, the things that happened, the treachery and the betrayal is unbelievable. Somebody would have to give the okay for one associate to kill another and another. You know what?
No, they don't.
They don't?
No. Listen, I think a lot of people read books. There was no retaliation because Zito got killed, and there won't be. This is not something that two made men were involved in. These are two associates, and that's a loose term. These were guys that just, whatever. But there's going to be no retaliation, and there won't be, period, with anybody.
Well, say the possibility is that the boss of the family ordered it.
Well, we could say anything hypothetically. We don't know. We can only go by what we read or what we hear. And that's it. I mean, if the powers to be sanctioned it, we'll never know. It's hearsay anyway.
Danny Ragu, that's a smart business move. Okay, keep it in the old school. It's really all about money. Take the money away, everybody would live forever. Well, you have a good point there. FBS was made a good point on his show before. He was talking about when people are poor. People that are poor can survive bad situations because they're used to being survivor, knowing how to survive. I'll give you an example. You had guys that when the Depression hit in 1929, jumping out windows, and because they only had a few $1,000s left in the bank. You had some people that had no money left in the bank. They didn't jump out windows. You got people that are just stupid. They think having $100,000 is being broke, so they'll kill themselves. Tommy Stiggs, too many people glorify the life. Most don't understand the nuts and the bolts. My own uncle was about to clip me at a social club because a scam he pulled off. Well, that sounds interesting. The person closest to you is the one that's going to get you. What a lowlife. Kill a friend for money, not even give a shit that the family, especially the grandson, witnessed his grandfather dead with a bullet. Can you imagine that, though? You're the grandson. That grandson's never going to be the same. He's an 11-year-old boy coming home from school, and he sees his grandfather's blood all over the place. That's basically what it comes down to, people. Okay, let's see. Ruby Stein of the Westies, because supposedly wanted his books. Okay. Ruby Stein was killed, right?
Yeah.
Who killed him?
I believe, I don't know if it was Noonan or Mickey Spillane. Somebody killed him.
Because they wanted basically what he had, basically.
Well, his book was huge.
Oh, it was. Okay. Good point, my man. Danny, is it true that Al Diarco borrowed $250K from every captain and then became a rat?
There's so many different variations of the story. I think he was killed wrongfully. I don't think he did that. But, I think that, I don't know. I can't really tell you. In my opinion, I have no idea. I'll just leave it at that.
So what happened to Al Diarco?
Well, he obviously became an informant, and he was killed. Or he died.
He died or they killed him?
No, he died.
Okay. Look at what happened to the guy Lou from Smony Gardens just a few years ago. Great point. I mean, someone went to his house and killed him. But they said that
Spanish guy.
but that wasn't associated with the mob.
Well,
but
who knows? You know what I mean?
who knows?
Listen.
And Tony knows his stuff. And Tony, I think I did a show and got a lot of information from you on that. Loan sharks not only owed money, Lee, but killed for their black book. None of these mobsters are smart anymore, only the ones that mind their business. You know, people have to remember, in general, mobsters are very undereducated. You don't get guys from college and stuff. These are guys that dropped out of high school and stuff. They know the streets, but when it comes to being clever, they're not too clever. In general, when you were around a lot of these guys, how did you find their intelligence level?
Well, listen, you have dumb and smart in every walk of life. You know what I'm saying? Some guys are street smart. Some guys are book smart. You know, I knew guys that, you know, can make money out of a feather. So, you know, if you're in that life and you're on the street constantly, there's a million ways to make money. Whether you scam it, whether you hustle it, whatever you do. You know, I used to like doing Vegas nights. That was my thing. And stick-ups. That was my thing.
Now, Vegas nights, how would that work?
Oh, we would have we'd use the synagogues on Bay Parkway, all over Borough Park, and we'd make a deal with the you know, with the high singers there, whatever I call them, the curls, and we'd make a ton of money. We split it up, we'd whack it up, but we made a fortune. We had drivers, we had dealers, we had kitchen help, we had 20, 30 people working in there. So you can imagine how much money we made.
I went to one of those games out of synagogue once that was put together by Glenn Bernardi and John DiGiorgio. And that was up in Somers, New York. And this is kind of funny because I walked in there and I seen a table full of old ladies and it was an empty seat.
Oh,
so I said, easy prey.
Oh, it was, we pick them
they
up.
Destroyed me. They destroyed me, these old ladies.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
These old Jewish ladies that I went in there and I seen a bunch of 80-year-old ladies. So I figured that I can go play cards with them and win. I'll never forget. They had a laugh. They took me so bad.
Made a lot of money.
$50 from Steve Sanderosa. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Very much appreciated. We can't talk about how much we appreciate everything you do for this show and other shows.
Thank you.
Okay, Stephen, Danny is a great asset to your show. I just like to watch because Danny reminds me of old Brooklyn. I love the stories. Subscribed last month. Good luck, guys. Sean, we are glad
Sean.
you subscribed.
Appreciate it, buddy.
And then we'll do everything to keep you and keep the show going the way it's supposed to be going. Lee Cole, hello, people. How you doing, Lee Cole and Danny Trio? I hope all is well.
What's up, Nightmare?
And we appreciate you showing up, Nightmare. Frank Cicero, how you doing? Low Tide Lauren got to get cleaned up. Well, okay, I'm not going to put that up. Okay. Everybody, please hit the like button. Please hit that like button. It makes sense today. Just earn money and remain in the background. And, you know, a lot of things, it's hard to earn money the way they used to. We got to remember this. I mean, everything now is electronic. And, you know, what I miss, Danny, when we were on the, you know, well, when you were on the streets or I was out there doing my thing, money was nice because money was easy to get a hold of in the 80s and 90s. And I remember when the 2000s came around, if you ran a restaurant, you went from getting 90% cash to 5% cash because of credit cards. So now you got to scam the credit card companies because there's no money to scam anymore in these places.
That's a fact. I mean, I used to deal with some guys in Brighton Beach. They were absolutely professionals making these cards. You had to see it. It was just, I couldn't even comprehend when I walked into this shop on Brighton Beach Avenue. I couldn't believe it. It was incomprehensible.
Now, what were they making, Danny?
They were making credit cards.
And back then is when you did the slider across the card, right? They
had the whole machine. They had everything.
And so it was much easier to scam cards back then.
Oh, it was
because
great.
You slide right over.
Exactly.
They didn't have the chip in it and stuff.
No. No. And that ship, you know, contrary to what people believe, that ship is a deterrent, but it's not whatever. It's not guaranteed. So
you know what happened? You know what happened to me about 2 years ago? I'll never forget this. I wake up one morning, I noticed there's $900 missing out of my account. Just disappeared out of the blue. And so I called up the card company and they told me where it was taken from. They said that someone, and I don't know how to this day how they did it, someone in New Jersey used my card at the bank even though they didn't have my real card.
Listen, I could go right now and buy a card reader. And I can actually use that card reader anywhere I want. I can pick up your information right out of your pocket.
And that's what they said. The card company said, did you go to the gas station? Because sometimes they'll put those card readers over the slots that when you pay for gas.
Well, I'm talking about a handheld one that I don't know if anybody's privy to them, but you can get them and they work. And that's how they get a lot of the information.
And that's why they have the security now that when you have credit cards, there's a specially made envelope that you put the card in. So if someone comes up next to you, they cannot. Right. If you keep your cards out in a wallet, you could be on an escalator. Someone
you can get right next to you and use
your card.
Yeah, and what they do is they make them. They can make a duplicate. You wouldn't even know it until you get your
money's going.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm not a rich man, and it was $900. But can you imagine?
I don't use credit cards, so
why am I not surprised, Danny?
Well,
do you use debit cards?
I have debit cards. I 90% of the time I use cash.
Ryan Lacey, The Sopranos were based off the Sixth Family. Absolutely. The Jersey family. Bill Jordan, world's biggest simp, spreads himself around. Okay. Nightmare 15. Okay, let's see. Today, young people can't survive without their parents. People were tough 30 years back. You know what?
It was a completely different era. You know, like today, these kids, they don't have the slightest knowledge of anything. And I think, you know, it's partly our fault, my fault too, you know, because we coddle them and we, you know, we want to do things that maybe our parents didn't do for us, you know?
I remember I went out recently. It was like 80 degrees. It was a beautiful day. The trees were bloomed and the streets were shady. And I remember back when we were kids, everybody was out in the front yards or in the backyards playing football. The streets are empty. The yards are empty, people. They're nothing like it used to be.
Yeah.
Remember when we lived on certain blocks, Danny, and everybody was outside?
Oh, we were playing stickball.
Everybody.
Kicked the can. You know, it was.
I remember when I was 12 years old, we used to go to the Aqueduct. This was upstate New York. We went to the Aqueduct and we built our own baseball field and played baseball there every weekend. And we literally, as a bunch of kids, we went to the field and literally built the baseball field. And you just don't get that no more, people. Okay, Bill Jordan quit D-riding long enough to come in here. Is Bill Jordan in here? And if Bill Jordan's in here, just come in here respectfully, Bill, and talk to us. Don't be a douche, please. I don't understand you guys why you decided to come. Joey Diaz was 14 and on acid when he came home and found his mother dead on the kitchen floor. Talk about a traumatic event. You know what, people? Arthur, you're right. But unfortunately in life, there's probably a lot of people in here that could tell you tragic stuff like that in their life. You know, it's part of life. Tragedy is part of life. Danny, I'm assuming that you could tell people tons of tragic stories.
Yeah, you know, life is what it is, and you know, a lot of life is sad, particularly when you're on the street. You know, when you're doing wrong, and you see all kinds of stuff. I did. And I've seen death. I've seen, when I was working in the hotel on Coney Island, I used to find dope addicts dead on the toilet bowl, stiff as a board.
And, you know, this is a question that I asked Jimmy Calandra, believe it or not. I said to him, when you're out in the street and you got guys that are in the life, are near the life, and then one day they come to you the following day, and Danny, I'm sure this happened to you, and they say, oh, Joe Bob was killed last night. And it's like, what? I was just hanging out with him. How many times did that happen to you?
Well, I'm just going to give you a synopsis of what happened to a friend of mine on Avenue X in Stryker Street in Brooklyn. Him and I smoked a cigar, and I used to go to a certain cafe over there, and I went to go pick up some money at OTB, and I seen cops come flying down the avenue from McDonald Avenue. They were coming from all directions, and my friend was laying in the street dead.
Shot?
To this day, never knew why, what happened, but there he was in the middle of the block, dead as a door.
He was shot?
Yeah, he was shot 3 times.
So he made the wrong enemy. You know, and that's what happens, people. You just make the wrong enemy.
It's ludicrous to think, you know, you look at him or you look at the situation, you have a moment of clarity, and then he's gone. It disappears. You go right back to that, you know, that life, you know, that situation. Yeah, you think about him, but it's to no significance anymore, and it's kind of a hollow feeling, you know. It
is. You know, and I can get into that because my brother Tom talked to me for 2 hours on February 12th of 21. He talked to me for 2 hours, and then he hung up the phone. We had a great conversation. And 20 minutes later, I got a phone call that he just hung himself. Right. Just like that. It was like his way of saying goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you're talking to your brother. You're having a great conversation. And then you're like, why did he hang himself? You know, but in my brother's case, he had a brain tumor. And, you know, nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring people. It's just one of those things. Tommy Stiggs, I saw your mother on the show. Oh, yeah, Tommy Stiggs' mother is great. You know, let's put it this way. It's not like Highlight's mother. Did you see that picture of Highlight's mother putting her face around?
I didn't see it.
Oh, God, it's funny. FBS has it. Tony Soflo has it. It's a picture. She came in with an angle, and she had these Coke bottle glasses on, and her eyes were really big. It's one of the funniest things that I've seen on YouTube. And when she did it, I was watching a show and I said, oh my God, there's going to be so many thumbnails tomorrow with that picture on it. And there were thumbnails all over the place. The guys you opened the show about, they were both, yes, they were associates, Tommy. There's no doubt they were associates. Where's my thanks? I sent you a show cash chat. Dude, I didn't even know you sent a show. I seen 3 of them. If I missed something, I apologize, Sons of Italy. I'm very sorry. You know what happens? They get up there in the top and then they disappear. I seen 3 of them, and if I missed yours, I apologize. It's not being done on purpose. Believe me, that's top priority. People glorify the rats more than they do the mob these days.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling, but it is what it is. I mean, today and now, today's world, it's a completely different animal. It just is.
Yeah, and people say, oh, why did Lee have Gene on and interview Gene? You know why? Because for some reason they like to watch that bastard. People like to watch him because people like to see people self-destruct. And Gene Barillo self-destructs in front of people's eyes. And that's what he does. Out of all these guys, he's the one that self-destructs the most. I'll give you an example. He said that he's going to live with the girl that he was on video with in the motel. Does that make any sense? Women and men. Go figure. Us men are such pussies when it comes to women. I swear to God. Carmenessa was only his daughter, so protective. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Employee white male, cash is king. But if we print too much, as we currently are, it may not. You know, when you print $20, $30 trillion in cash, that's inflation, people. That's why inflation's at 8% right now. If anybody could tell you about inflation, Danny being a businessman, can tell you how much inflation is hurting his business right now. Is it really doing a number on you right now, inflation?
It's, I can't even express how bad it is. You know, I mean, it's every day it's getting worse.
How much is your profit margin if you had to guess change in
I'm
the
already
last?
in my profit margin. I'm probably anywhere from 18 to 22%.
How much have you lost compared to last year in that profit margin?
Oh, probably close to almost 18,000.
So think about that, people. $18,000 profit he's lost because of, and you're pretty much still getting the same amount of business.
Yeah, yeah. But
And
you know, gas is the number one killer. Second is groceries. I go to the grocery store. I usually buy $100, $150. $150. You can walk out of there with nothing. Nothing.
especially because Danny eats those prime rib steaks and those,
Yeah.
you know, he goes in and he likes to eat the best meat. So
Yeah.
he's used to paying $40 for a damn steak that he's now paying $80 for.
Nah.
Don Vito, how you doing today? Have you ever watched a movie starring DiCaprio called Catch Me If You? Oh, what a great movie! One of the best movies ever. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
It's a true story about a 17-year-old kid that pretended he was an airline pilot, and he got away with it for years. It's a movie based on a real life bank check fraudster. Yep, it was a great movie. You can't, Don Vito. It was just a great, great movie. Oh, Bill Jordan, my friend, the guy that used to tell me he was my friend. Lee loves Gene. Okay, so Bill, give me an example of what love is. If you think I love Gene, Bill, that means
Hey, Bill, do yourself a favor. Go back to Angel's chat and get out of here because you're a clown. You're a first-class moron. That's what you are, Bill Jordan. You're another jerk. So go back to Angel's, you know, safe haven and go over there and talk to them people. Don't come in here with this stupid shit.
But they have to. It's like they have to
This
get
guy,
a word
this
out.
guy right here is the quintessential moron. You know what I'm saying? He's got to come in here. He can't come in here and just listen or whatever. He's got to come in here with a comment like he always does because he's a moron. So go back to Angel, sip your tea, and get burped. Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, new T-shirt, people. Go back to Angel and sip your tea. Okay. Thank you, Miss Karen. Mom's doing well. We know your mom's doing well because your mom has a good son. I'm sorry I didn't get back in touch with you today. I'll do that tonight.
What's up, Mike?
I appreciate your you writing us. Tommy Stiggs, she is in my prayers. I lost my dad 12 years ago. My mother's 85. She's too mean to die. It's just too mean. We love her, but she's mean. Okay. Oops, accidentally timed out Bill Jordan again. Sorry, my bad. That's okay. You could time his little ass out. He used to be a decent guy, but I guess in real life, he's really not a decent guy. He's a scumbag. But don't block him because we don't do that here. Unless you really get out of hand. The truth. Lee called Danny Trio. When I was a moderator for you, I never made mistakes and timed people out or blocked people. Michael Hensley must be drenched for blocking people. Michael Hensley, the truth, you know, does a good job. See, when this show is over, here's what I do. I go to see if anybody's been blocked. Very rarely do these people in here that are wrenches, are moderators, block people. They block stupid people, but I got to give them a lot of credit. These wrenches are doing a great job. Sure, Joey Electric gets a little, you know, crazy sometimes, but we talk to Joey, he chills out. He's just like a hitman. Instead of having one gun, he has two. Okay. Great stuff, people. Keep on writing this stuff. Range of emotions experienced by D-Truth when Lee took his wrench. Okay, D-Truth, you were right. They need to remake The Natural starring Lee Cole, the home run scene with Lee Cole doing it. Movie is, that's a great movie, but, you know, that was Robert Redford in his 50s, too. You know, Danny doesn't know much about movies, do you, Danny? I can't hear you.
I don't watch them.
Okay. Danny, did you ever have to get intimate with men? What the fuck? I didn't know that. Okay, that's a guy that needs to be blocked. If you see people come in like that, they get blocked. He's blocked. So if you see someone coming in and being that disrespectful, guys, just block the shit out of them, okay? Because do you think he would say that to Danny's face?
Yeah, these are clowns. These are guys that got their ass beat every fucking day. So it's just like a guy that becomes a cop. You know, the same theory.
Hey, did you know Italian families back in your day where one or two of them became gangsters and the other two of them became cops?
Oh yeah, a lot of families are like that.
That was very common in Italian families, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Neil S., $10. A little support for Lee. I really enjoy your content these days.
Thank you. We appreciate
and we
that.
appreciate that. And
why do
you figure I need the support and Danny doesn't? Are you trying to tell me something? Okay. So Danny, right away, people think like you're wealthy. I don't know what the hell it is. Maybe it's that house in the mountains in Georgia and stuff. Yes, I'm jealous. Okay. Is that Anthony Pandrella in trouble with the Gambinos for having killed that bookie?
Well, I don't know if he's in trouble. You know, I don't know if that term is even questionable. I know that he did what he did, and you know, I don't think the Gambinos are going to stand by that and accept the fact that he's even a Gambino associate. So,
and what happens if the Gambinos ordered it? We don't know.
We don't know. It's just, you know, it is what it is, you know.
Nobody knows what's going on there. It's not like the old days where you go to prison and there's soldiers in there waiting to kill you. It's not like that anymore, people. The only person that accidentally ran into that was Whitey Bulger. He had his eyes torn out by a soldier, right, Danny?
Yeah, and the guy should be released. They got him in solitary now. And Geese should be out of there. That's what they should do. They haven't charged him with anything, but they got him in solitary.
And he ripped out Whitey Bulger's eyes.
Good. Should have cut his head off.
Imagine that being 84, 85 years old and having your eyes ripped out. That guy thought he was going to live to be 110. No more pay. Isn't that amazing? No more pay phones. That is, you remember walking around Times Square and every corner had like 10 pay phones? Or you go to Grand Central Station, they literally had a room on every floor of Grand Central Station that had 30, 40 phones in it. But people, here's what I think about. Back then, we didn't give a shit about germs. We went and picked those phones up not knowing what the hell was just on that phone. And that's how sissified our country we've become as a society now. People be there with their spray and spraying the phone and shit. Back then, we didn't know. That's why our bodies were stronger back then. We were more immune to disease, because we picked up phones with tons of shit on it. You ever think about that, Danny? How easy you picked up a phone back in those days, not thinking nothing about the germs?
Yeah, you drop a candy on the floor, you pick it up, put it right in your mouth.
Even if it was in the streets of New York.
Absolutely. If you didn't die then, you were never going to die.
And that's why people back then were a lot stronger than people are now. Oh, no problem, Tony. That happened quite a while ago. Well, not quite a while ago. It's always be part of my life. I think the truth is that bum Mike Wolf, John Wolf. Yeah, I keep hearing that. So that's what people are thinking right now. Jason, how you doing, Jason? Sorry, guys.
What's up,
Jason, I just watched the offer last night. You know what? Some of it was very not true. They did it wrong. But in general, if you look up everybody that they in that movie, like all the executives and stuff, it was very accurate. It just wasn't accurate on the gangsters. It wasn't accurate on Joe Colombo, or it wasn't accurate on especially Joey Gallo. It made him look like he wasn't thinking. His eyes were big and bulgy and shit. Yeah, the offer, you know what that was about. Did I tell you, Danny?
Yeah.
But it was really, it just had a nice ending and stuff, because The Godfather, they had no idea when they made it, it was going to win all those awards and make all that money.
Yeah.
My high school love committed suicide. We had talked an hour later. He was gone. Just like that, Miss Can't Be Wrong. That's what happens. You know, every day that we're alive, we have to take it If we have animals, we got to remember animals are like humans. They can go to sleep and not wake up. So you got to appreciate it every day. I was in the Army with a guy who was in Rwanda on Christmas, called his mom, talked, and when we hung up, stuck a grenade in his flak jacket and blew himself up. Wow.
That's crazy.
And people don't realize back then during Vietnam and stuff, how many soldiers did kill themselves. They figured they'd kill themselves before they would die a horrible death out in the woods or the forest. Danny is a great storyteller.
Yeah, I wish I was good. I'm mediocre at best, brother, but I appreciate that.
Danny, let me ask you a question. When you're home and you're talking to your son, do you tell him stories about growing up in the streets?
Yeah, but I talk like I talk like I'm talking to a guy on the street. You know what I mean? And it's weird. Like I catch myself and I'm saying I'm talking to my son because you get so involved and revved up about what you're talking about. And my son looks at me and goes, "Dad." I said, "I'm sorry." You know what I mean? Because I equate it with being out there. You know what I mean?
Does your son realize what a shelter of life he's been living and how good his father treats him?
I tell him all the time.
He has everything in life that you probably didn't have.
Yeah, and some circumstances I feel bad because I allowed him not to fall on his head.
Because you spoiled the shit out of him.
Yeah, and that's my downfall because I feel, that he should have what he needs. And,
but let me ask you a question. Did he graduate high school with good grades?
A's and B's, yes, sir.
Okay. Did he, is he going to a school after high school now?
Yes.
So he's going to culinary, right?
Correct.
So he's doing everything that a father could want their son doing.
Yeah,
is he doing drugs with his buddies?
No. I get where you're going. And, it's, when I was growing up, I didn't get none of that stuff. So subconsciously, I want him to appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But, sometimes I think he does and sometimes, he doesn't. But he's a kid. And I've allowed, him to be the way he is, unfortunately, in some circumstances. But he's a great kid,
And I have 3 kids. None of them do drugs. And you know what's funny, though? I always tell them, as people know, me and my oldest son were at loggerheads, just the way it is. That's how life is with parents and children. But in general, though, I always kid with my sons that they ain't shit. My daughter gave me all the trouble.
Right.
But she has a master's degree now. She's an educator.
That's good.
But she's the one that gave me all the trouble. I used to tell my sons, "You guys are boring compared to you." I used to have to go look for her 3 o'clock in the morning.
I couldn't have a girl.
Yeah, and then they used to kid around. Her friends and stuff used to call my house the duck and roll house because they would tell her, "Duck and roll, get out of your car. We're not stopping your dad's home." And then whenever I found her, she would look at me and go, "How the hell did you find me?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, because I've been there. They have no idea. Like, do you think Danny wouldn't know if his son was taking drugs?
Oh, forget it. I would know.
Just like that. It's that easy, people. Kids don't hang out no more. My son uses a GPS to go everywhere.
Yeah, he's right. You're right.
Yeah, but that's the fun of going out. Even to this day, I don't use my GPS unless I'm traveling across country. I love driving. Do you like driving, Danny?
Love it. Do it every day.
But then you go home and you have the nice built-in pool in the back, screened in, and a couple hookers in your house.
As many as I can get.
Gisli, I'm sorry to hear about you. I appreciate that. Brian, I don't like to talk about my brother too much, but I just felt like it was part of how quick we can lose somebody that we love. It can happen so easily. That's why whoever you have in your life, appreciate them because they may not be there tomorrow.
That's a fact.
Ryan, I disagree with this. A-Light is a bum. Danny's not even answering. Do you ever think that maybe A-Light's not good enough to be a bum? You don't hear much. John A-Light's got to be glad that MobTube is having all the issues with the drama.
Yeah, because if you think about it, what would he have? I mean, if there wasn't a genre or a platform for him to talk about the Gottis, what would he do? Get a bullhorn and stand on Woodhaven Boulevard? I mean, what would he do?
And he doesn't hardly have anybody attacking him no more because they're here fighting over everything else except John A-Light. When I remember when we first came into this genre, FBS and I used to always attack him, and it helped build our channels. Now it doesn't, because we don't talk that much about him because we have so many other things to talk about. But FBS was like did 20 shows sometime at one time where he just destroyed him. John DeGiorgio, how you doing, John? The people glorifying the rats probably grew up in 2000 when this life was on its last leg, because if they remember the 70s and 80s, they would give no respects, none. And we talk about this. When Sammy Gravano ratted on John Gotti, there was a picture of a rat with Sammy's head on every newspaper, everywhere, right? Everywhere.
Absolutely. You know.
Did you guys see that Sammy Gravano's making a movie now?
You know, I have my thoughts about that. I have my thoughts about him, you know, and you know, in some respects, you know, I wish. Well, I better not say that. You know, it's just mind-boggling how somebody can come on here and have as many followers as he has, and people idolize him for what he did. That to me is not logical.
Guess who's starring in the movie he's doing, Danny?
Who?
Him.
Well, why not? Schmiegel. Listen, this guy is a fucking piece of fucking shit, period. And I'm going to tell you this. Anybody that subs to his channel is also a piece of shit, period.
Okay. We're going to lose half our viewers.
Well, listen, if you listen, you know, and I mean, to each their own. And you know, you could say I'm a jerk off. You could say I'm a big mouth. I'm a nobody. I'm whatever you want to call me. But this guy committed 19 murders.
That we know of.
Well, whatever. Gets on a platform, tells stories every day, every week, every month, whatever it is. And there's absolutely no clarity for this guy whatsoever. The guy has been a piece of shit his whole life, and he's continued to be a piece of shit. And these people support him and put him on a level where he's above everybody and allow him to make money. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be allowed to. He shouldn't be on a platform like this, period.
And you know something, people, if you listen to his stories and then if you go read his confessions, his 302s and stuff, which you can find on, I forgot the site. There's a site.
You can go to Smoking Gun. There's a whole bunch of sites you can go.
If you go read the stories, the information that he gave to the FBI, and then you go look at his videos that he makes of that story, it's totally different.
Oh, he's contradicted himself over and over again. And I'll just tell you a quick story. He was so petty and so such a bully that on Stillwell Avenue, there was two brothers. They were twins. They used to sell pot in the schoolyard. He actually went over to him and said, "You can't sell pot unless you give me money." This is how much of a fucking narcissist and he just thought who the fuck he was. You know what I'm saying? But again, you know, it's people that sub to his channel that give him this authority. And listen, you know, the majority of people that sub to him are all fanboys. These are all people, mob groupies that want to say that they spoke to a wise guy or they interacted with a Sammy the Bull or a Michael Franzese or whatever, and they get off on that. You know, that's their euphoria. That's what they want. You know, but they have no clue of what it's about.
I've had one conversation with Sammy Gravano, and you know what he said to me in that conversation? He said, "Oh, you're the one that does those fucking videos on me. I'm gonna put my foot up your fucking ass."
He ain't gonna put his foot up a fucking chihuahua. He's a fucking decrepit Schmiegel-looking bastard. He should drop dead.
Tell us how you really feel, Danny.
I think he's a fag anyway.
That's the rumor on the street. That's always been the rumor on the street. If the economy gets by how soft people are these days, it's going to get real interesting. Listen, when you start taking stuff away from people, shit happens. Nightmare. Lee, do you have hair underneath that hat? I'm not afraid to show myself, my man. Well, that's all you got to do is ask. People see me without my hat. I don't hide my head. You know, there's nothing worse than a comb over. Okay. Lee, you got Gene on the show because you promised him 3 blocks of Cracker Barrel cheese. Okay, that's a good one. Jenny, how you doing? It's good to see you here. Yes, kick the can, kick the old man in the ball, steal the old man's bundle. So on, good games back in the day.
Yep. That was the good old days, simple times.
So there was a game on your streets called Kick the Man in the Balls?
Oh, there was all kinds of games. They made.
I don't want to be in part of that game. If the point of making something of yourself is your kids, their kids will have an easier lives. Why do people gripe about it? YouTube administration. Because we're having a conversation, my man. We're having a conversation about our kids. We're having a conversation about people. That's why. Okay, let's see. Hey, you guys are writing a lot in here, people. I'm going to tell you about it. You're keeping this 231 people in here right now. A yellow local. Okay, let's see. Pat and Albie from Bath Beach. Their dad got blasted in front of them. I believe in front of the home stretch on Kings Highway. They grew up crazy and both were killed. You know?
Yeah, they used to live above there. Home stretch.
Do you know anything about this Pat and Albie guy?
Yeah, Girolamo, whatever the fuck their last name was. His father was always in the fucking bar, the home stretch. Pat and Albie were just no good.
They both got killed. Didn't they? Are those the twins that got killed together?
No, separate.
They got killed separate?
I believe so. If I remember, it was a long time ago.
That's the story. But you know how many stories are like that on the streets of Brooklyn?
Oh, they were a dime a dozen.
And we talk
and
about
stuff you don't even hear about. You have no idea about.
I'll give you an example. Like we talk about Roy DeMeo. Think about this. Roy DeMeo, he did this twice. He killed somebody, right? And twice, one time the brother who was not in the mob came looking for his brother. So they brought him in the bar and they killed him. And then he killed another guy whose father and brother came together to the bar to find her son. So DeMeo bring him in, and he killed 2 innocent men that weren't even made. They had nothing to do with the mob. So just think about that, Danny. Can you imagine you're looking for your son and you get murdered for looking for him?
Yeah, DeMeo was he was a psychopath.
He wiped out families.
Yeah, well, look what happened to him. So he was a paranoid little fucking. He was nuts.
He was, yep. And he had a hell of a crew around him, and then he had Nino Gadji backing him up. Okay. Sons, I was in 296 Canarsie. It was originally 1204. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the local.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Are you familiar with the locals from back then?
No.
Christopher Capello, it's your money hunt. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about there, but Neil, I wouldn't roll with that dirtball brother. Do what you want. He is a horrible person and tells lies. I'm not Neil. I don't know who you're talking about there. Maybe Danny does, but I don't. Okay, let's see. Why do people think the sun sets an angel Gotti? She's the Fredo of the God. Okay, I accidentally put that up. Now I'm going to get attacked for it.
You're blocked anyway. You ain't got to worry.
Oh, yeah, I am blocked. Yes, I learned that. Oh, look at this guy. These are questions you don't ask, Donald. Hey, Danny and Lee, are you into firearms? If so, what kind you all got? Donald,
well, I would answer that. Are you a Fed, so many rats on this channel, meaning law enforcement. So I'm legally not allowed to own a firearm. So it's kind of incriminating to tell you I own a firearm.
Yeah, and I would never tell you I own a firearm either. Hell no. But Donald, why would you ask that question? It's like you purposely ask that questions like we're some dumbasses and we're going to start telling you things. So people, be very wary of this Donald guy. River runs through it. It was a great Robert. Oh, yeah, it was a great movie. Lee could definitely play the coach, not Hobbs. Okay, definitely not Hobbs. Definitely not. Miss can't be wrong. Lee sends Danny his money, and money give me his share of super chats. Okay, well. We called them milk carton cops because in grammar school, everybody threw their milk cartons at them, so they became cops. When they grew up, to give them a feeling of authority. Thinking about hanging out tools, though. Okay, let's see. Why can't I find anything online about you, Danny? What does your resume consist of? Do you have a LinkedIn profile?
I was a flea market salesman.
All you got to do is go back to some of our earlier shows to see information we put out on Danny. Okay, so Droosh Marouche. It's obvious that don't you guys hate when you look for somebody's information and you can't find it? Remember how you needed to have quarters for the phone? I remember dimes.
Me too.
I remember, yeah, dimes and nickels you could use on the phone. How the hell did John Wolf get in here? John, be good, and you can hang.
Well, why don't you talk about your KKK membership?
Gene Barillo would make a great co-so. Okay. When I was in the service in Okinawa, I had a finance phone card to call home on a payphone. Crazy times. Yep. And let me tell you, I remember the phone cards that John DiGiorgio would give me back in the day. And everybody used those phone cards. But the problem was half those phone cards didn't work because the mob is the one that pushed those phone cards. And they would give them to stores, and stores would buy them at a real cheap price. And then they would sell these cards. But on the back, it would say that the owners of the store is not responsible for the card. So you come back and say, this card's not working. The owners say, I can't do nothing about it. Those cards were a big ripoff, people. That's true. We picked up payphones, not worried about the germs. We didn't worry about germs. That was the toughest generation there ever was. We didn't give a shit about that stuff because our parents didn't program us to be little sissies. It wasn't like that at all. Do you remember when your parents used to close the windows and smoke in the car?
Yeah.
And then they would drive these big, heavy cars. When there was an accident, you would hear the bang a mile away. Remember how big those cars were back in the day? They were huge. They were. Okay. Trying to catch up here. Gerard, $5 super sticker.
Thanks, Gerard.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Gerard.
that, man.
Very nice of you. Tom LaVecchia lost the majority of his viewers when he doxed MRE. Why? That's not why he lost his Joey. Okay, first of all, nobody doxed MRE. Nobody did. MRE's information was already out there. Doxed is when you put out personal information of people, but MRE's information was everywhere. So he was never doxed. That's a myth. And then on top of that, Tom LaVecchia, I'll give you an example. Today he had on Karen Gravano, and he had 90 people watching with Karen Gravano. Can you imagine if Karen Gravano was being interviewed? I don't want Danny to interview her. Don't get me wrong. That would be rough. But can you imagine if Danny and I were interviewing her or FBS was interviewing her? You think we'd have 90 people in the chat room watching? I mean, that's like Poor Karen Gambino probably came on and said, "What the hell? I have like nobody watching me." But so basically, Joey, New York. What I'm trying to tell you, it's obvious that you love MRE, but get your facts straight. He was never doxxed ever. A-Light is a whack-a-mole. Game hit him and knocked him in the hole. He pops up again. He does have, I'll tell you what, he does have some, he's got some lasting power. Okay, I'll let Danny answer this one. I like to, when I Sammy Gambino making a movie. Well, he have a writer that his trailer will be filled with cheese. The funny thing about this, I seen it was on Reddit. I seen a preview of the movie, Danny, and he was actually like in the movie starring in it as he is now.
Yeah, Spiegel.
Shooting people and stuff. This is a guy that says that he regrets his life. He
don't regret nothing. The only thing he regrets is not making more money.
That's it. Oh, A-Light is always welcome to Liberty Avenue.
Let him come.
Did you spend a lot of time on Liberty Avenue, Danny?
I'm not going to say I did or I didn't, but I had a friend of mine who's was on Liberty Avenue, and Ryan knows what I'm talking about.
Do you think that people like Sammy Gambino and stuff can even walk on that street anymore, still to this day?
No. Now, listen, I don't know if he could or he couldn't. I'm not in New York anymore. I don't, but, he seems to feel like he's invincible. So, I if he is, I don't know why he just don't go back to New York and start a crime family.
Neutral drop. Sammy the bullshitter Gambino. How dare you neutral drop? Okay. Now, Jerry Cavalli, I'm hoping that you're not this stupid. I'm sorry. I don't even mean to call you stupid. Lee, I like your show, but I don't understand why anybody bullies Tony Pizza. Maybe because he's a piece of shit that puts up stuff on people every night and he's a coward. That's why, Jerry. And Jerry, if you go in and you watch his show, that does not speak very highly of you. Okay, let's see. At Miami, he's the king of MobTube. He gets more views than anybody else. What do you mean? Nobody cares left alone. He's getting 4K views. Joey.
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but Joey, our chat room right now has 213 people in it. Do you understand that?
So he's essentially saying if Michael Franzese pulled his pants down, he'd suck his cock.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he's saying, because he's a screwball. So when Michael drops his drawers, pull his prick out and suck it.
Danny, you got
fucking moron. He's another fucking nitwit.
Yeah, it's amazing though. They don't understand that. If you have this is what you call a small, successful show.
We're not comparing ourselves to Michael the Rat.
No. Our FBS is a small, successful show. And that's what it's about, people. People don't realize it's very hard to come on here and get 4,000 or 5,000 views, let alone, you got to remember, Michael Franzese came on here with a bunch of lies, a bunch of money behind him. Sammy Gambino had money behind him when he came on here. And they lie. They lie about what they were when they were rats. They're both rats, people.
Well, just in his conversation about John Gotti, I outsmarted John Gotti. He's a clown. He's a clown, Franzese. Fuck him.
Yeah, but would he say that to John Gotti's face back in the day?
Oh, Franzese couldn't pop a fucking pimple.
Do you think that he would go in a room and even disrespect John Gotti in any way? These gangsters. Do you think that Sammy Gambino used to get on his knees and blow John Gotti if John Gotti told him to? That's what it comes down to. They couldn't get in the same room with John Gotti and act like they were tough guys like this. John Gotti would they were scared of him, people. They were scared shit of John Gotti. Don't forget Alan Kaiser, the Dangerous 16. Yes, and that was a made-up story also. We know that.
Absolutely.
And just so you do know, I will always put up a picture of, whoops. Yeah, Alan Kaiser and his family, no matter who I'm arguing with, I might have an issue with somebody or whatever, there will never anything ever be said bad about that whole tragic story. It was a horrible thing that happened to that poor kid. That's what it comes down to. The people that watch Gambino of this are the same fucking idiots that watch The Bachelorette. No. Danny, you should face Sammy in a celebrity boxing. Can you picture Danny boxing Sammy Gambino?
Yeah, listen, you know.
We can give you a plaster. We can give you a plaster of Paris wrap, and you can put him.
Wrap myself in a rubber suit.
Bad thing, Lee. Some of the ones going along with you here will be praising him on his next video.
Yeah, it's true, but that's okay. I mean, hey, listen, you know, if you want to associate yourself with Sammy the fucking fag Gravano Schmiegel and his whole crew out there, Karen, Gerard, and everybody else, you're as stupid as he is. Well, I shouldn't say stupid. He's going to the bank with all his money, but to associate yourself with him, you know, there got to be something wrong with you.
And you know what it comes down to, though? These guys, they were great on the street when it came to making money, and they're great on YouTube making money because it's a hustle to them.
Well, everybody wants to hear it. You know, he's one of the biggest guys to ever, become an informant, and he had a lot of stories, and people gravitated towards that because, you know, inquisitive. They're all inquisitive. They want to know what was John Gotti, who he was, what was he like, what he did, who did this. You know, that's what I could care less, and I mean that. You know, everybody misses the picture that he's nothing but a rat and an opportunist, and that's all he ever was.
And guys, you got to remember, you got real guys that were in the mob that now are shelved, retired, older. Some of them have no money, but you don't see them coming on here. And can you imagine the money they would make? And they could easily do it. Can you imagine some of the upstanding guys coming on here and telling their upstanding stories about the real mob? The stories you're hearing about from these guys they're not true. They twist them around, people. They twist their stories dramatically around. MRE hasn't said his story because no one would care. He does not produce original content. He is a reaction channel at best, exactly. And you got he is definitely a reaction channel. He doesn't do anything anymore. His whole philosophy and everything's different now. He doesn't have nearly the power that he once had. Once somebody finds you out, that's it, you know. Kick the can, cork, manhunt, buck.
Yep.
I'd be more worried about Karen than I would Sammy. Okay. Danny tells it how it is. He doesn't care what people think about him. Salute, Danny.
Thank you.
Is that true, Danny? You don't care what people think about you?
I could give a fuck. And I mean that. I don't give a fuck. But if you're going to say something about me, say the truth. Don't make up fucking stories. You know, I respect you more if you tell the truth. But if you come on here like a clown and say fucking retarded things, because, again, you wouldn't say it to my face. You would not. So all the clown shit and all that, say it to your mother.
Back in the day, I heard before anyone that would say Sammy in the bar would take his gun and put it on the bar because they didn't want any problems and they knew he couldn't reach it. He couldn't reach the gun on the bar. Are you making fun of his height? Hey, if you guys met Sammy Gambino in real life right now, you see a 90-year-old, feeble old man, and you would say he's a gangster? Miami Mike using other words, what other people's words proves he doesn't lie, all facts, and everybody likes that kind of content. There's a reason he gets 4K views on almost every video.
Listen, you know, obviously you like MRE, that's fine, you know.
MRE doesn't get 4K on no videos.
Well, it doesn't matter if he does or he doesn't.
MRE doesn't. His numbers ain't as good as mine in the FBS.
So
all you got to do is work.
Joey, New York or wherever you're from. So what are you doing in this channel? You know, just if you don't like what's said here, or if something is brought up about MRE or whatever, you could go back to MRE's channel and just stay there. Why do you have to come over here and try to have some kind of relevancy in regards to MRE? MRE is MRE. Lee is Lee, and I am me. So
here's what. But I like when they come here. You know why, Danny? Because it's a view.
Well, he's not accomplishing anything.
It's a view. You're helping us. And
but I'm just saying, the comments are ridiculous.
And the longer he stays in the chat, though, it runs up our watch time also. So, Joey, as long as you're respectful and say it like that, you can hang around. Because to me and to Danny, you're watch time and you are a view. That's it. That's who you are. We don't give you the respect that we give our real people that watch this show, the real fans of this show. You don't get that respect, and you never will. John DeGiorgio, as of now, his nickname is Sammy the Bullshitter.
Yeah, Schmiegel.
Schmiegel. Sammy was the Antichrist then, and time goes by, people forget, and they only hear his stories.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what it was. And Roy DeMeo had a huge bloodlust. In the end, his crew killed him. They did. And the two guys that killed him are in prison right now, right, Danny?
Yeah.
I mean, they wound up going to prison for a bunch of stuff, and they're going to be sitting there for the rest of their life. But, they did the world a favor. Does the name Loop Into ring a bell?
From Coney Island?
I heard a story that happened in Houston that a guy wanted his girlfriend to get back with him. She said no, so I don't even want to read that stuff. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that do horrible things like that. Danny, this guy's saying, Danny, who was the biggest loan shark on the street you knew?
I didn't know any loan sharks.
Come on, they're dead, Danny. You can't give us the name of a dead man?
Nicky Rizzo.
Nicky Rizzo? When did he pass?
A couple of weeks ago.
Really? Sorry to hear that. Wasn't Nicky Rizzo on your Facebook page? On one of your...
He was. He's not there no more.
And he was a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
So guys like that are the ones that deserve recognition, people, not guys like Sammy Gambino and Michael Francis. So did Sammy look at the I love some of these avatars. So did Sammy get the street tax from the pot dealers? Remember you said about those guys? Did they wind up giving him the pot money?
Did Sammy get the street tax from the pot? Oh no! What happened was they just stopped selling over there. You know what I mean? They were kids. They were like 17, 16. They were selling dime bags of pot, and here comes fucking Big Mouth Schmiegel talking about if you got to sell here, you got to give me something. So they just moved. They went somewhere else.
Could you imagine if Sammy went and did that to the Rastafarians?
Listen, he was just whatever, man.
The Rastafarians were big pot dealers back then, and they were crazy. So, let them go to. They used to hang out at the park in New York. I'm sorry, I'm lost right here. But he would never do that there. Okay. Bill Press. I watched a Guy Gunner on your show the other day, and I gotta say, geez, is that guy boring? I think the most exciting thing he ever did was go into prison. Fucking guys, man, you guys are so bad. Sammy Gambino regrets getting caught selling ecstasy in 2000 with his Syrian friends and family. He regrets it. He's the one employed by a white man. He got his family involved. Who does that? What kind of father would let his kids be involved?
Who deals with kids?
Miss Can't Be Wrong says Danny is blunt, and I respect that.
Thank you, Miss Can't Be Wrong.
Danny, thank you. Thank you earlier, brother. I appreciate it. Have a good night, guys. As always, God bless. You too, my man.
Thanks, Mike. Take care, buddy.
Hey, I'm only a few minutes behind tonight. Good. Okay, I'm going to try to catch up here before we end our show. Let's see. Jerry, did you hear that Pony Pizza said, listen, he'll say anything. He's an evil man, people. He's an evil, evil man. That's all he is. $10 from BK Salcrook. Much respect to you guys. We appreciate it. We appreciate the people we have here. We appreciate the numbers you give us. We appreciate the donations you give us. But, you know, if you guys keep giving all this money, you guys are going to start some friction with me and Danny. Especially with the way the recession going on in Florida. Danny's like, how can I make up this money that I'm losing? Okay. Michael Francis is a man of God, like Crook Peter Popoff. He should be selling holy water at 3 a.m. on an info commercial. What a yeah, dude, there's nothing godly about Michael Francis. Nothing. 200 plus 231 right now, neutral drop. Live is it's very good for 4,000. See, people don't understand that. The amount of subs, the amount of people that we get in our live chat and FBS gets in his live chat is tremendous for the amount of subs we have. You got people that have 10,000, 15, 20,000 that don't get 200, and they'll do a live and get 60 people. You know, but then, you know, don't get me wrong, you know, Tim Pool does a live and has 40,000 people in this live. I'm one of them. You ever watch Tim Pool?
I don't. I have
okay.
No idea who it is.
Well, he's a big Trump supporter. He used to be a leftist, and then he became a Trumper.
Right.
And he's got quite they say that his ratings are higher than CNN. And he's on YouTube.
Right.
What you doing, Papa? Lee, have you have any idea talking about Tom was the first person to find MRE's personal info 6 months ago? He gave his info to Luisi and Panisi. Luisi and Panisi. It sounds like Luisi and Panisi. What do you think? That okay, it sounds like a Mario. Luisi and Panisi sound like two Mario characters, Mario Brothers characters. George Butteress, I met him back in 2000. Okay, let's see. We'll do a few more here, people. The beggar made a video today saying that him and Banjo were uncomfortable in the car and that he was so hungry that he was about to eat Banjo's food. And did you guys buy it? Sammy the Bullshit Artist talks like he's the underboss of the Gambino family. He really needs to accept the fact that he's no longer a powerful gangster. He is delusional. That's it. Can't say it better. Okay. Sammy Gravano also made millions in construction, but wouldn't have to share with other families. Could you see Fat Tony and others saying, keep it all, Sammy? Hell no. Well, when you talk about Fat Tony, you're talking about a real gangster. A matter of fact, it's an insult to even put Gravano's name into the name of Fat Tony. Can you imagine a guy like Fat Tony? Guy goes to prison and dies in prison like a man.
Well, listen, you know, a lot of people don't understand that concept. So, you know, you're beating yourself into the ground when you try to talk to somebody in regards to that scenario. They don't understand it. So, but they were real gangsters. Matty the Horse, Tony Solano, Lombardi, all these guys, Benny Eggs. These were true blue, bona fide gangsters, without a question.
And they knew they were going to die in prison.
They didn't care. They didn't care. And that's the truth. Listen, Gotti said it the best. You either die or you get killed, you know, and that's an acceptable, you know, philosophy. You know what you're going to do when you get involved in this, you know, life or whatever you want to call it.
And Fat Tony was very unhealthy when he got arrested and went into prison.
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. And he went into prison and died. You know, you could talk about even the Irishman, Jimmy Burke. You know, Didn't he died of lung cancer
Yeah, he died in prison.
in
Mad
prison.
Dog Sullivan, the same thing.
Yeah, and these guys, they weren't even Italian. They didn't even live by the code. They lived by the street code of what was going on back then, not the mafia code. Miss Can't Be Wrong, I'm sending a message to you early. Hi, I have 3 grandsons wearing our family's favorite football shirts. My son's American Akita. Is he wearing Green Bay Packers or New York Giants shirts? Oh, I love this. Sunshine. Lee, you were Gene's best friend for 8 months. You would move in with Sammy the Bull if he asked you to. Do these
So
people
what kind of a name is Sunshine?
Yeah, are you a guy?
So you know, again, I'm gonna say this, and this is derogatory and probably not a nice thing to say, but I'm not gonna say it because if you are a female, I'm not gonna disrespect you. But that comment is so fucking dumb.
I think it's a guy that wants to.
Well, who puts their name as Sunshine?
Yeah, it's a dude. It's probably a dude that wears skinny jeans, and yeah, he wears skinny jeans and halter tops. He probably has long feminine hair with a goatee. Okay,
fucking unreal.
But we put you up there. We put you up there. Do you guys understand what best friends are? Do you get it? Do you understand it? When we talk to people on the phone that are associated with this, it doesn't make us best friends. It doesn't even make us friends. You know what it is? They like coming at you with this stuff, but it doesn't work. You got to come up with better stuff. Maybe Pizza will put on his broken glasses and complain about his tooth tonight and make a few bucks. You know, people. Someone just made a good point, Danny. In the last week, he's had $1,700 donated to his Cash App, and he's broke. What does that tell you?
He doesn't deserve any air from my
What does
mouth.
it tell you he's doing with the money? 17 people, think about all the money he's gotten. He's gotten maybe $30,000, $40,000 so far this year. Last year, he probably made $30,000, $40,000, maybe $50,000. Because that guy made so much money. And he has nothing to show for it. Nothing. That makes him a drug addict, people. He's a drug addict. The moving jaw, all that stuff. Tony Pizza. I'm sorry. Sean McCarthy is a drug addict. This can't be wrong. I've done that. I apologize, but he's on my... Okay, let's see. You know, Michael gets that free advertisement speaking at those churches. Gets that free. Wait, listen, if churches, that's the problem with churches. This is why people don't take churches serious anymore. They don't do research on people. Who would want to get a guy like him speaking in their church if their church was really about God? Okay, this is going to be the last one we take, people, and we're going to call it a day. Pizza was sad fishing, saying he might have to eat the dog. Yeah, we can see that. Someone just wrote that. Okay, listen, people. We really enjoy you being here today. It's been another great show. Please hit the like button. We've been on 1 hour and 43 minutes. We've been over 200 for 90% of that time, and we appreciate it. We appreciate any donations. Danny, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in. And my friend wrote a book. It's called The Last Ziti by Michael Caiazzo. Please pick it up. It's
Put it up one more time, just so they can write it down.
The Last Ziti.
And what is that? What's in that book?
It's all mob related. So please pick it up. It's a great read. He's a great author. He's a friend of mine. I would appreciate it if you go and buy it. If you don't buy it, that's cool too. But it's a great book.
Yeah, Bruce City, $1,700 a week. Had no idea Tony was. Yes, Bruce City. He pulls in that kind of money. He pulls it in. I've seen him pull in $2,000 in one show on a few occasions. Okay, people. Like I said, take care. It's been great. It's funny because we got into a conversation about the life and stuff, and we never know where our conversations are going. I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed this kind of content tonight. Everybody take and have a
great night.